My name is Ashley Easterwood and my company is Springwood Marketing. We are a full-service marketing agency and we're actually in the Woodlands. What I want to talk about mainly to start out with is just branding. One thing that you should probably focus on is what makes you different. I've underlined a few things that I feel like really make my company stand apart. Professional services and resources that grow your business. A lot of marketing companies are trying to grow your business, but I think the professional aspect is something that pulls us apart. We customize our packages and we really value time. When you're creative, it's sometimes hard to put a number on time or let people know, how long is this going to take? I don't know. Can it be done in 3 hours? Well, maybe not those 3 hours today, because creativity isn't something that we can just say, oh, right now, let's have it, but your client may expect you to do that. And then at Springwood, we offer traditional and digital marketing services. I'm familiar with both of those because of the line of work that I came from, so I may recommend one over another depending on the industry or the market, but at the end of the day, it's up to the client to decide what they want to do. Our mission is to help businesses grow by developing custom resources and strategically implementing them in the marketplace. So we try to not just create things, but then we try to guide people and tell them how to use them most effectively. So I actually have, I believe, 3 slides on branding your business because I felt like that would be a good topic to discuss here. Start with just figuring out the basics. What do you need? What services do you need? How do you need to present yourself to be a part of that industry? And decide the key elements that put you within that industry, but don't just look at your competition to say, okay, I'm going to copy all of these things about them. No. See what they're doing, see what they're doing well, and then think about, what could I do differently? What could I do better? And market yourself that way. Yeah, I do what they're doing. I am a marketing agency, but here's why you should choose me. And people flat out ask me that all the time. Why should I pick your agency? Okay, I've answered this 30 times. Let me tell you. And have that prepared and know how you're different. Why should I buy your furniture? Why shouldn't I just go somewhere else? You need to think about what the value is of what you're doing. So as much as when I started my business and I thought, well, I'll just be the cheapest one. It's just me, I'm working from home, so I can't charge what a big agency is charging. Well, if I get that meeting with someone and I'm in front of them and I say, I'm just going to charge you 25 bucks an hour, which I didn't, but if I took that approach, they could just as easily not choose me because I don't seem valuable. I don't seem like I could do the type of work that they want done. So don't always just say, well, I need to be the cheapest one out there. That is not always the answer.
Cheap is not always good.
And you don't want to get into a situation where you're not able to sustain your business and you're doing it and you're not loving it anymore because it's just, oh, I have to get this done. So I would definitely keep that in mind also. There are those foundational elements, right? You want to do graphic design. Well, I do graphic design too, but you may be able to do it in an hour and I can't. So think about not just money, but other things that would set you apart. Are you a one-stop shop? What is it that makes you different? And not just the first thing that comes to mind. Really put some time into that to see what sets you apart. What are the pain points of your industry? I built a lot of my company's brand on this. Whenever I would get a new client who came from a company that I knew of in the area, that I'd kind of looked up to, that I'd already searched and knew about when I was starting my business, and then the first couple times that I got a client said, yeah, we're using so-and-so, but we're not happy. And I thought, oh. Hey, they called me. I better not let them down. So it's okay to say, well, why are you leaving? And just be forward with them and say, I don't want you to badmouth them. I want to know what they did wrong so that I don't make that same mistake. Exactly. And then use those types of things to set you apart, because it may be something you didn't even think about. I mean, there's a lot of random reasons why people decide not to use a marketing agency. A lot of times because they're not reliable and they're not happy with the results. Well, what were you doing? Were the results bad because of your budget or what you were doing, or was it the other agency's fault? And sometimes I may think that's the case, And think about how you're wording. This is professional writing versus technical communication. I say technical communication now, and I try to tell people that can cross over into other industries, and that allows us to be able to write for you regardless of what you do. And sometimes it will turn a client away. They may say, oh, well, if you only write technical stuff, I don't really want that on my website. I say, well, there's other people here who can write differently, but you really have to think about your messaging. Especially, it's so easy to put things out online and on social media. Everything you say is there, and people are perceiving it differently than you are. So just be really mindful of the way you're talking about yourself and your brand and your product. Well, if you start thinking about the type of customer that you want, then you can be better at deciding, well, which types of events do I want to go to sell this to you? Which types of social media should I be on? If you haven't thought about who your customer should be, then you can't move on to this next step in the best way, because you don't know what you're looking for. So, if it's B2B, it may be what industry do you want, or what size of business? The size of business that I'm trying to get clients with now is different than it used to be. And then it's not always the case. Sometimes people will surprise you. Everyone's unique. Everyone's an individual, and you will certainly learn that the more you're out talking to people. Everyone has their own opinions, and you kind of have to embrace it, but if you really don't like it, you don't have to embrace it. So think about also age, gender, location. Using online platforms allows you to not have to stay in this area. You can show your paintings and artwork to people in other locations. I have clients in other countries. It doesn't matter. We can have a video meeting once a month and it works just fine. Who can I lean on? So this is kind of how I got here, but don't stretch yourself too thin. Yeah, we're a full service agency. We offer a lot of different things. But when someone called to ask if I could do drone photography, I was like, I could go buy a drone. But then I called these guys. So, I mean, that's kind of what started that conversation. There's some things that you may want to figure out how to do, but there's some things that it may not make sense. How do you pick the best partner? First of all, you need to know what you represent. There's a lot of different things that we represent as a marketing company that's different from others. We meet deadlines. That's a big one. We have reasonable deadlines. That sets us apart. You don't want to recommend someone who's maybe not going to answer the phone if that's something that you're selling to your people. Yeah, I always answer the phone and I'll get out there right away. I really care about meeting your expectations. Well, if someone else may be a great photographer, but if they're not going to show up for 3 weeks, then I look bad. So don't just look at the person that you're recommending for their abilities. Think about them as someone who's going to be an extension of you. Are they really the best fit to recommend? This one's a little bit different. I wasn't sure what types of people would be here, but processes are really important also. And I think a lot of people don't think about them. They may think, well, it's just me, I don't need a process, but you kind of do. And then especially if other people are going to work for you, they need to know what to do when they come in. So think about processes and policies. If you need to fire a client, well, the first time you had to do that, you probably didn't know how to handle it. But now that you've done it, you certainly know how to go about it. You might know what you would do differently next time. Embrace change. This is a really big one. It's important in my industry because Google's always changing their algorithms. There's different types of social media. People are using it differently. I think in any type of business, in any industry, you need to look at what other people are doing. How are things changing? What can you do differently? You don't have to completely rebrand yourself every 6 months, but you don't need to get disgruntled. You need to be open to what's happening and just embrace it. And know that your ideal client may change based on how your business grows and the different types of things that you want to do. And know your worth. This is a big one for me in my business. Know your worth. You don't want to get in a situation where you're just trying to make a sale. It's not a good situation to be in, and especially if you want to grow, you have to be able to support that growth. So believe in yourself, and other people will feel that confidence and believe in you too. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all.